Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today for this recorded session of Special Programs Community Presentation. My name is Katie Hill. I'm the Director of 504 and Intervention Services for Rockwall ISD, as well as the district's Child Find Coordinator. Today, we are going to spend a few minutes talking about Child Find, how families can access special education evaluations and services, and provide an overview of services available to eligible private school or homeschool students through IDEA Proportionate Share. We will leave time at the end if anyone joins for questions. Joining me today is Miss Melissa Melton, our Senior Executive Director of Special Education. We will be leading today's presentation together. We represent a larger special programs team that includes special education directors, coordinators, and specialists who work together to support students with disabilities and their families across Rockwall ISD. Here's what we will be covering today. I will begin by reviewing Child Find, what it is, who it applies to, and how families can access the evaluation process. Melissa will then discuss proportionate share services available for eligible private school and homeschool students. I also want to point out the note at the bottom of this slide. Because of recent changes in Texas, some families may have questions about education savings accounts or vouchers. Today's meeting is not about that topic. If you're looking for information about the ESA program, the state has a website listed here that provides those details. One of the responsibilities every public school district has under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Improvement Act, or IDEA, is what is called Child Find. Child Find simply means that school districts have an ongoing responsibility to identify, locate, and evaluate children who may have disabilities and who may need special education services. This responsibility includes children who attend public schools, private schools, are homeschooled, or are preschool age. The important thing to remember is that Child Find is about identifying students who may need support. It does not automatically mean a child qualifies for special education. If there is a concern, the next step is completing a comprehensive evaluation to determine eligibility. This slide lists the disability categories recognized under IDEA. Rather than reading each one, the important takeaway is that IDEA includes a wide variety of disabilities, from speech impairments and autism to orthopedic impairments, hearing impairments, and specific learning disabilities such as dyslexia. Meeting one of these disability categories alone doesn't automatically qualify a student for services. The evaluation team must also determine that because of that disability, the student needs specially designed instruction through special education. So what services may be available through special education if a student qualifies? If a student is found eligible, services are never one size fits all. An ARD committee, which includes parents and district staff, reviews the evaluation, determines eligibility, identifies the student's individual needs, and develops a plan based on those needs. Depending on the evaluation, services might include specialized instruction as well as related services such as speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, counseling, or other supports. Every decision is individualized. Who can begin the Child Find process? Anyone can initiate the Child Find process. That could be a parent, a teacher, a physician, child care provider, private school staff member, or anyone else who has concerns about a child's development or learning. If there are concerns, we encourage families to reach out to the Rockwall ISD Special Programs Department, and we will walk them through the referral process and help determine appropriate next steps. Early identification allows us to evaluate concerns sooner and provide support if it's needed. I'm now going to turn it over to Ms. Melissa Melton, who will discuss proportionate share services for eligible private school and homeschool students.
Okay, thank you, Katie. And would you mind handling the slides, progressing
Sure.
through the slides as we talk about proportionate share?
Yes.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Now we're going to talk about proportionate share, which is a part of how Rockwall ISD supports students with disabilities who attend private schools within our district. Under federal law, school districts that receive IDEA-B, or Individuals with Disability Education Act Part B funds, are required to set aside a portion of those funds for special education and related services for children with disabilities who've been placed by their parents in private schools. To do this, the district has to first identify how many parentally placed children with disabilities are attending private schools in our area. Proportionate share. So what exactly is proportionate share? In short, it's a federal requirement that ties our funding obligations to the number of students we identify. We gather input from families and private schools, and that input helps us guide how these funds are used. To calculate the amount, we compare two numbers: the children with disabilities enrolled in our public schools and receiving services versus the children with disabilities in private schools. That ratio tells us how much federal funding must go toward the services for those parentally placed students. If you'd like more detail, TEA has a quick guide in a FAQ available. Let's walk through a real example using our own numbers from the October 2024 count. Rockwall ISD has 3,319 eligible children with disabilities in our public schools and 59 parentally placed eligible children with disabilities in private schools located within our district. Add those together and you get 3,378 total eligible children. Based on our average allocation of $2,124 per eligible child, that comes roughly to $51,035 that must be expended specifically for parentally placed private school children with disabilities ages 3 through 21. Here's an example of Rockwall ISD proportionate share. This is how it translates to actual service. So in Rockwall ISD, we provide speech therapy services. We have about 23 students receiving on average of just over 11,000 minutes, or roughly 23 hours of instruction per week, at a rate of about $100 per hour, which is the going contracted rate for a speech language pathologist. We calculate that, and it's calculated across a 36 school week or school year, plus time for meetings, progress monitoring, reporting, and the total cost comes to about $87,800. Compare that to our state allotment of $51,035, and you can see that Rockwall ISD is investing well beyond what's required to make sure these students are served. What services does Rockwall ISD provide? So what does it look like in practice? It starts with an evaluation, as Katie mentioned. From there, if a student is found eligible, speech services are determined by the ARD committee. Those services can be delivered directly or in a consultative model, and they can take place either at the school district or right at the private school campus. All services are provided by a licensed speech-language pathologist or a licensed speech-language pathologist assistant. We also want to make sure every family and stakeholder has a voice in the process. Each year, Rockwall ISD schedules an annual group consultation, which is conducted over Zoom. If an individual follow-up is needed, those subsequent consultations can be scheduled directly through our Special Programs Office at 972-772-1175. We also send out stakeholder surveys to private school parents to make sure we're hearing directly from our families. Well, thank you so much. This concludes our presentation for today. Again, if you are interested in proportionate share services, for which in Rockwall ISD for 26-27 school year will be speech therapy services, please reach out and talk to one of our directors that will walk you through the process. We appreciate your participation and we look forward to hearing from you.